Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the FTN Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Today is a day in August, I think somewhere towards the end of August. It is a day that Roman Anthony is not going to be activated, but maybe that day will come soon. And I am one of your co-hosts, Vlad Sedler, and I am joined by two great friends and great fantasy minds. One of them is my partner in RotoCrime, Jason Anthony. And the other is the great Scott Jenstad, and everybody knows him back in the old BBS days in the CDM message board. Used to call him Oaktown. What's up, fellas?
What up, Vlad? It's good to see you again, man. I'm glad you can still call me your co-host since I haven't been on lately. So appreciate you working with me with life. Miss being on with you. Super excited to talk to you and Scott today. You know, two of my favorite people in the industry. Only person we're missing now is Matty Moe, but he don't do baseball anymore. He is about 80 drafts into the football streets. So we're talking baseball and excited for today.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. I'll say you guys are two of my favorite people anywhere, not just in the industry, even though Jason limited that a little bit, but that's all right. Appreciate you guys having me on. Look forward to talking to baseball. It's a fun time of year. I know everybody's talking football, but we have 4.5 weeks left. There's a lot of money to be won or lost these last 4.5 weeks.
Absolutely. And total side note, you guys probably know, but this is my first year that I have not made a football draft pick yet. I may end up just doing that home league that we're in, but I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just every time, like, time to get into the research, time to get some drafting, just don't have the time and the commitment for it. Maybe I'll draft something before the home league, but I need to get ready. I'm already drafting hockey, best ball stuff. So I don't know. Maybe I've just changed.
As we all know with drafts, Vlad, once you pop that top, it gets going. I actually started much later, and I'm already about 5 drafts in. So avoid it as long as you can.
if it makes you feel better, I'm just going to draft without researching. So there's that.
Every year, like every year. Yeah.
It's football, man. We all know everybody's name anyway. It's fine.
Yeah, that's true. Can't pronounce them all. I think there's a Achan.
Yeah, I'm not doing the Travis Etienne as Achan. I think I'm sticking with Etienne.
Yeah. You got to stick with it. Well, we're heading into the final month of the season. After this weekend, on that Monday, week 24, there will be just 4 weeks left of the baseball season, and some FAAB left. I think there's about $100 left to spend in most main events. A lot of those teams, of course, not competitive, and that's just the average price. I think it's similar in OCs, but from my experience, I feel like OCs, because there are only two top paying spots, a lot of times most people are out of it, and it's just you and trying to outbid Posma by $1 basically.
It's funny you say that. I have an online championship that's doing really well, and like 9 teams bid last week. I think everybody might be trying to, I don't know what they're trying to do, because it's the league is pretty much over, but like a lot of people maybe have been for second, but there were almost as many bids in my main event last week, and everybody's going super aggressive for guys. So I was hoping for a kind of a dead online championship September as people play football, and you do get a lot of those, but I haven't seemed to found that one this year.
How do you get in every league that has the most bids in it, Scott? It's fascinating. Every main, every wild. OC, you have like 40 bids a week, and I have a couple OCs that I'm literally down to 3 teams bidding. It's great.
Yeah, my online main event where I'm in the mix for the league, last week I had 16 conditionals in on 2 different bids, and I got 1 guy. Everybody bid on the other 15. I was like, it's so busy, it's crazy.
You might want to bid more than $1.
Well, no, there's details.
Scott, you're usually known to have, I guess, the hammer a lot of times in FAAB in the past. Is that the case here in this OC that you're competitive in?
Not anymore. I bought Max Clark, I bought George Lombard, and I bought Hunter Green. I bought Hunter Green for a lot, and it was going to be a nice ad. I won him, and then obviously he had that really bad start when nobody used him because he wasn't activated. And then had one really good start, then he got hurt. That would have been a nice piece. So I was bummed. I think it was like $200 something on Green. I had a lot of money left like a month ago, and now I'm in the double digits, but high double digits. I get enough where I can bid guys, although my leagues are super active.
Jason, we've got a league. We're in main event. I think we're both like somewhere around 90-ish points, and trying to get those spots. I mean, they're actually not that far away. Probably an 8-point, 10-point difference between, a few points from third place. First place is within striking distance as well. How's that team going for you? How much FAAB do you have left there? Do you remember?
The team just has too many injuries, probably, Vlad, to overcome. Yeah, I'm looking at the team right now. Just you got red marks everywhere, whether it's IL or day to day, or it just, I think I've maximized this team. I only have $37 left in that league. So, I'm kind of down to pretty, I'm going to be struggling to get there. I got to get hot and get lucky to get probably cash in that league.
Is it okay? Would it be fair game to kick you while you're down and just bring up like what is going on with this Giants lineup, man? Everybody's hurt. Guys I've never heard of. I actually did hear of Turner Hill, believe it or not, but it's just the weirdest lineup. It's like it's to the point where like Selvis Basabe was playing every day, and now he's a platoon guy, and just Drew Kavanaugh, who the heck is he? It's a very weird roster, and you lost probably for the rest of the season. You lost Willie Adames now too.
I don't know if we ever had Willie Adames to start the year. He's been terrible. This season's obviously a lost season. I don't know if Buster Posey knew that you couldn't punt this year because you could not. They're the highest draft pick they can get is number 10 after getting in the top 5 this year. So there's no really silver lining to this. They don't have any pitching coming. They obviously have some really good young hitters coming, but they're 17 years old. So, maybe by the time the lockout's over in 29, they'll have a chance.
Wow. It got dark fast.
Well, he started talking about the Giants, Scott. Where did you think it was going?
That's fair. It's been a mess, and people seem pissed off. It seems like people actually are finally not going to games there. It's such a beautiful park. They just kind of fell back on that place for so long, and now it's just. I mean, Vlad, you're right. I looked at that lineup, and 3 of the names jumped out to me as names I really knew. I had to look who Nate Furman was. I've never even heard of that dude.
Yeah,
not related to the detective from the O.J. Simpson trial. I checked it out.
Only you would actually Google that. I love it.
Scott, what's crazy? The ballpark's actually been full this year up until about a month ago, and I was shocked when we go to games, and they'd have 40,000 people there. And so I don't know if it was kind of the baseball's done a good job, obviously, with the time wise, only being 2.5 hours at a game now rather than 3.5, 4, and that the cool thing to do in the city. But I think it's got to that point. We were supposed to go last night, and my daughter was sick, so we kind of just punted the tickets, and I was not upset about it.
Yeah, the online chatter has been people are finally upset, and they seem pretty over the team right now.
You mean there's something negative online?
Every once in a while, I find something negative on Twitter. It's very rare. Warriors Twitter's always happy with everything.
There is actually a positive about Willie Adames, just because I was looking at his stats as what is he's going to be out now 3 to 4 weeks and probably to the end of the season. You may believe this or you may not. He was actually kind of on pace to a similar year last year. He had 21 home runs. He had 30 last year. Runs and RBI were close. A few stolen bases, hitting 230 as always. So it was just. Willie is Willie. It's either you're in the market for that where he goes or you're not.
I can tell you the last time he had a big hit though for the Giants. The stats are there, but man, everything is empty. They're up 8-1 home run. It just
we call those an Eric Karros home run in Los Angeles.
Pedro Feliz and the Giants.
There you go. And the thing with Adames is he signed through 2031, and the surface stats kind of look there, but. Man, you look deeper, hard hit rates down, barrel rates down 4%, strikeouts are up, walks down 4%. He's been a significantly worse overall baseball player this year. Look at WRC plus is now under 100. So he's a below average player making 25 million a year. And he's 30 now. That's a rough contract through 2031.
And you didn't mention the worst defensive shortstop in baseball by the metrics.
Somewhere George Lombard Jr. is waving his hand to being don't forget about me.
Anthony Volpe is so happy about this.
He's got to be beaming.
The funny thing is Lombard looked awesome in the field the first week and a half, and now 6 errors in 6 straight games is kind of a wild stat for a major league shortstop.
Really crazy. Real quick on the Dodgers. I know you guys are. Jason, more of a Dodger hater. Scott, a Dodger not liker. Would that be a good way to put it?
I'm fairly neutral. I enjoy going to games. I got no problem rooting for them. But I'm not a fan. But I got no problem with them.
Yeah, I mean, all this stuff now. I mean, we don't have to dive too deep into it, but with the owner Mark Walter and selling off his part of the Lakers quickly, and now everything with Jeff Passan's not saying anything, and just all this online stuff, and just. I just want to say this. Over the course of the year, I realized I have been more mentally happy the less I click into read, the comments below, or the less I'm scrolling, or everybody, has something to say, and everybody for the most part is negative. And it's like I am getting crap for just, I grew up around the Dodgers. I have nothing to do with their, like somebody said something to me the other day. I was like, well, yeah, I'm not like, the head of the, aversion division or whatever it was. Like, I have no play in that. I'm just a kid. I was a kid who grew up in Los Angeles. Dodgers are my team. I'm always going to follow them. So just a lot of crap online. And you can see I've been checking it this morning because I'm all fired up now.
I thought the Dodger hate, like the last few years, was kind of fun. Like the deferment money. I thought that just went over the top this year with the Diaz and Tucker signings. Like that really just killed so much stuff. I mean, they had no reason to sign Tucker, especially at $60 million a year. So I felt like it was kind of like fun for a while. Like Evil Empire kind of hate him. And then once they signed Diaz and Tucker, like it's just there's so many problems, and it exemplified all the problems. They're not doing anything wrong. They're not breaking any rules, but it's very clearly not a level playing field with their TV deal, their deferments, maybe some insurance fraud. So that might cause some problems. But I thought the Tucker signing really kind of if it was like a seesaw where it's kind of like, balancing on the right spot of like having someone to hate, but also not being unfair. I thought the Tucker signing really kind of pushed that over the edge and have made them less likable. They're leaning into it a lot too. They play the Billie Eilish "Bad Guy" song before the games now. If we had to be the bad guy, they're really leaning into it. I kind of think that they're kind of bringing some of that on themselves a little bit.
Definitely.
And then let's trade for Tariq Skubal on top of that. And then they're probably going to sign him right before the CBA expires and just absolutely blow everything else up.
I'd grandfather that deal in early too, because there's going to be some kind of cap. If it might be a soft cap, but I'd grandfather that in too. Yeah.
Uncle Ted just popped in, and actually you touched on exactly something I wanted to say. Nothing actually irritates me more online than people talking about Ohtani. The league covered up Ohtani's betting. Guys, read the document. Read the legal document. Don't just see everything that you see on Twitter. It would be physically impossible. It'd have to be like the biggest cover up in history between the government and the league and everything. Like it's very clear he did not gamble. And I just find people that go down that route, and I'm sorry if I offend you, just of low intelligence. So sorry to go there, but that's all right.
You feel better, Vlad?
A little bit.
You sure? Do you need anything else?
By the way, stuff gets out. Like if there was some big conspiracy, someone would leak it, someone would get out. Like you look at the Niners owner, like the camera footage of his arrest already leaked out within like a day. Like TMZ would have stuff if it was covered up. There's no way everybody's this quiet for this long. It just doesn't happen anymore.
$140, Scott.
$140. Yes, it's the Deshaun Watson memes were freaking excellent. By the way, they were so good.
Uncle Ted again. Sorry, he's like, you're telling me we're not going to do this whole show, but it's like you're telling me Ohtani didn't see the money missing. Ohtani, I mean, I don't know him. I'm not speaking for him, but he has his trusted guy. The guy is busy. He's playing baseball. He's got a lot of money. He's not like checking his bank account every day and be like, oh, I understand. It's a lot of millions missing. It's in different places. Like,
the Dodgers going to win it or no?
No.
Another NL team or some random AL team in the mix?
I'm calling Milwaukee.
Yeah, I like the Brewers.
I like Philly a lot right now.
Yeah, they're hot. Wheeler might be done this year, though. He looks like he's expired. This Thoratic Outlet says he pitched so good, and now he just does not look right.
Yeah, that was a mistake. The draft you and I did together, you really pushed for Wheeler, and I kind of pushed against it. That would have been a big ad for us. That was my bad right there.
I got one thing right out of that draft.
Hey, we got Chris Sale at the max in the main event, so that worked as well too. He looked awesome last night.
Did he die?
Chris
Sale. She said that out loud. Yes, that was funny.
Dude, Chris Sale, man, unbelievable. It's like ERA is like a 2.1 or something. The guy's just out of his mind. 11 strikeouts against the Dodgers. The only run in that game was that Drake Baldwin, I think, off the first pitch, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday.
Yeah. Did you see the clip of when he came out for the ninth and his kid was all fired up?
Oh,
he was coming out of the game, and he comes in and kid jumps up and goes nuts because everybody thought it was going to be the bullpen. That was an awesome moment.
And the kid was just as skinny as Sale too.
Yeah, so funny. It was awesome. Great moment.
I gotta bring the cat in real quick. I'm sorry.
Bye, Vlad.
Is this a bit or is actually
No. He's like meowing at the door. He's gonna. You
have pets. Just kidding in the outline. So I wasn't sure if that was the skit.
Yeah. All right. I'll be right back.
Go get Blueberry or whatever the hell it is.
So Scott, how are your mains doing? Other than I know the one we're partnering in. How many others you got?
I got 2 others. My online main is depending on the day, first or second. It really moves up 2 or 3 points every day. There's one person really battling. There's 3 or 4 teams kind of maybe 10 points behind that could make a move, but it's kind of us two at the moment. And my Vegas main has been a mess. The offense sucks. It's Vlad Guerrero and Austin Riley in the first 5 rounds. It's kind of hard to, and Jaron Duran too. It's kind of hard to get offense when those are 3 of your first 4 offensive players.
What do we think Vlad? I mean, I know we're talking about next year coming up. What do we think Vlad is now? Not Vlad Sedler.
I got all kinds of
Vlad
answers.
Guerrero.
That's the question.
Ohtani haters have a new thing to say.
Who is Vlad Guerrero? Because the only season he really had that was worthwhile was in the AAA ballpark, or the AA ballpark, at that matter.
This is like as wild a star year as we've seen at age 27. Like, it is conceivably healthy. He's played 120 games. He hasn't homered in Toronto yet all year. He's got 7
over a year.
Yeah.
He still hasn't, huh?
He has 7 home runs. His barrel rate's 6.7%. Like, this is just the weirdest, out of nowhere, terrible season I can remember in a long time. Usually there's like an injury or something happens, or there's just all kinds of stuff that happens. But for 500 plate appearances, this is a wild stat line to have 7 home runs.
That's nuts. And then you talk about, like Tatis was on the same thing, but back of the baseball card, they're going to figure it out like Tatis has, right? I mean, Vlad hasn't even shown any sort of light at the end of the tunnel. And
he seems so checked out. Like, he got picked off yesterday on a line drive. That was just like an inexcusable little league play. Like, where are you going? It's just, you're not fast. Like, why are you trying to, he seems so checked out. Maybe he's just gone Derek Bell, Operation Shutdown, and taking it down. But like, I don't, it's been a weird, wild year. Where does he go next year?
Probably round 5.
Yeah. See how the rest of the season goes. I agree with you. I think he's checked out. I think can be lazy. If you guys remember, like before his big season, there was the story of how he's just always been, he's been special. He's, Vladimir Guerrero's son, and always been around that whole world and has that natural talent. And a lot of times, like, could get away with things, right? Just off the natural talent alone, didn't have to do the extra work, was always a little overweight. And then he had remember that summer before that year where he had, I think it was like his grandma stopped cooking him all the high protein foods and sweets that he loves. And he really focused on his diet. And I think obviously the body and mind is right, kind of helps you elevate, to that level that you have a potential of. And then I think this is just the opposite here now this year. He's just kind of they're not competitive, and everybody's always injured. He just doesn't care as much. And that, of course, translates into his game.
It's all Miguel Rojas' fault, I guess.
Would have been different.
Uncle Ted just said in the chat, and he's right on, Vlad should never go before Matt Olson. And I don't even believe they're in the same conversation at this point.
I mean, guys have down years, and like you hit 25 home runs, have 85 RBIs, and you hit 270. Like that's fine, and that's a down year for someone like Vlad. And 260 with 7 is just inconceivable.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, this is a good time to bring this up. So I wanted to ask you guys about like some of your choices looking into next season, assuming everything's fine or it starts on time. We get through all the drama in the winter, and we have drafts happening, and we're talking like, February, March. And as you guys know, there's an annual industry draft. Rob DiPietro runs, had a lot of, James Anderson, Jenny Butler, Mike Mager, a lot of people in this thing. And it's obviously a very early draft. It's in August. Like a lot's going to change between now and when DC's open, like right after the World Series. But it's a nice snapshot. It's interesting to see where people value picks. Of course, a lot of things like I think I saw somebody took Jordan Walker 10th overall. Is he going to be a first round pick? He's more like on the bubble of the first round. These are things we don't know. We don't want to use a one draft sample size where people could just be, making showboat picks or doing picks for content. We don't know where these players are going to start to go, how ADP will form, but it is a good sort of first picture. So I had some questions for you guys. We're just, looking at the player raters and stuff like that, and get a feel for, where the lay of the land is. The first question is, and it's kind of, it's the way I see it already crystallizing, the first 5 probably is going to be some combination of Ohtani, Pete Crow-Armstrong, Judge, if everything's all right with him, and Bobby Witt. I know Jacob Mizrowski did not go in the top 5. I think it was maybe 9 or 11. I forgot where he went in this draft. But let's just say he rounds out that top 5. Somebody takes a pitcher in 5. You now have a glut of very good hitters, most of them having great seasons here. who would kind of be your next pick. So my question to you, if all those 5 went and you have the 6th pick, who of these guys do you prefer? Who's your backup plan to that and why? And the guys are, it's Yordan Alvarez, it's James Wood, Junior Caminero, Juan Soto, and Fernando Tatis Jr. And then, of course, the field. Anyone else you want to mention?
Jason, go ahead.
I believe, and he's probably going to be discounted because he's injured right now. James Wood's the easy pick there. The name you didn't mention is not a hitter either. It's Skubal. He's probably going to be going up in that top 6 range as well, depending where he signs and how he looks the rest of the season. But James Wood's season is spectacular. And I think it's being discounted because he's hurt and he's on the Nationals. But, there's an argument to have him go above Witt and Judge and that group. He's improving. The barrel rate's gone from 10% to 16% to 20%. K rate's dropped all the way down to 28%. I know that's still high for an elite hitter, but if you see the improvement, that's what I'm grabbing onto. The thing I really like with him, the ground ball rate has dropped significantly the last 3 years, from 55% 2 years ago all the way down to 42%. So you're talking, he's elevating the ball and hitting it hard. That's how you get these results. I think he's been out about 3 weeks, Scott?
Yeah, August 3rd, I think he went the IL.
And his numbers are 30 homers, 100 runs, 73 RBIs, 17 stolen bases, batting .265. That's an easy pick for me moving forward. And I was a full fade on James Wood this year, so I'll take the big L on that one.
Well, James Wood also, by the way,
he still has 7 more runs than anybody in baseball right now.
That's nuts.
Yeah, he hasn't played in 3 weeks. Like on the player rater, he is 7th overall. So he was first heading into that. So those numbers are insane. You just extrapolate for a few more weeks. And I don't know, is he back soon?
I haven't heard, and I don't know because I don't own him.
Yeah.
Yeah, last I heard, he was doing some flat ground throwing. I think that was 3 or 4 days ago. He's hitting off a tee, so making progress, but I wouldn't call it close.
Do you consider CJ, before you get to that, CJ Abrams in the mix there as well? Because his season is phenomenal as well. I mean, if you exclude the catcher bump that player raters would typically give, he's the number 3 hitter in baseball. I mean, he's getting close to 30 home runs. He close to 100 runs, almost 30 stolen bases. He's doing some insane things. Just shout out to Matt Borgschult, who, had I known who he was and what he could do and what he's done with these guys, it's been pretty amazing. He's the hitting coach for the Nationals.
I had a note here. It's funny. I'll tell you who I would take 6th in a second, but I had a note here that says, is CJ Abrams a consideration? The one guy that I added, 29, 26, 80 runs, 92 RBI. Really, really great season. I think he probably falls a little bit behind this group you mentioned, but I'd probably take him ahead of Soto, probably ahead of Yordan, but not ahead of a couple of these other guys. But yeah, he'd probably be my 9th or 10th, somewhere there, maybe in the Skubal range. But yeah, he's been awesome. He had a shortstop. The strikeouts are up a little concerning. It's gone up about 4%, but I think he's in the mix in this group. I'd have him a little bit at the back end of the group, but I think he's in the mix.
And Soto for you, is how much of that is just what's happened this season? If he was just doing Soto things, I assume you probably would give him higher consideration.
Yeah, I mean, he's awesome. I mean, I think that 38 stolen base year is going to be the craziest outlier of his stat year ever. You look at his FanGraph page, and it's just it just sticks out like a big red mark. And I didn't get that. He's had a calf injury all year. He's still 27 though, which is kind of wild. I always think of him as older, but my answer, I was Wood or I love Wood. Everything Jason said about Wood, I agree with. It's just he's a monster of a player. I think the strikeouts are the one blemish that puts batting average a little bit at risk. It's 28.5%. Jason mentioned is down, but still a really high number. 240 comes into play if he has a bad BABIP year. But if he improves that by the 4%, then lights out. You're right. He could be anywhere. My answer, I think, is Tatis though. Fernando Tatis had 1 home run on June 1st. He was having an all-time bad year. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is the worst first-round pick ever." Blah blah blah. He's now, I think he's the highest rated first-round pick now of anybody. I think he's Caminero's a little bit ahead of him, but Caminero's a second-round pick right at the edge there. But Tatis is one of the best first-round picks now. 285, 17 home runs, 67 RBIs. He had 30 stolen bases. K rate is steadily under 20%. Love that from a guy with a 55% hard hit rate. The barrel rate's up. Still not enough fly balls, but it looks like he's adjusted there. He was under 30% fly ball rate in April and May, over 30% the rest of the season, 43% in August. He's 27 years old. I just think this is like a floor for Fernando Tatis season right now, and it's still a really good first round pick. I just think as long as he's healthy, and he's missed time one of the last 5 years. He's been over 130 games in 4 or 5. He's right there with me with Wood. I wouldn't argue if you wanted to go Wood over him, but man, I'd take Tatis like pick 7 and 8 and be really happy with that base.
I have a couple of concerns I want to ask you about with him, Scott.
Yeah.
You brought up the launch angle and how he's adjusted, but he's at a 5.7% launch angle this year. That's the lowest of his career. The interesting thing I found out was his bat speed is up 2.5 miles an hour, which is significant. So I'm wondering, with that bat speed, if it has changed his swing path a little bit. But my biggest concern with Tatis is the Padres have a chance in pretty short order to be an absolute dumpster fire of a team. And he doesn't seem like the guy that's going to be carrying a down team. And so I would be concerned with him if that started going sideways, if he kind of pulled a Vlad Guerrero, as we were talking about, maybe packed in the interest level.
Yeah, that's a fair point. He does seem like a guy that, like, if they were 30 games under 500, might not be flying around as much. But I still think the top of the order, when you got Machado, you got Jackson Merrill having a really nice last 3 months in there. I think the top of the order will still be okay. The bottom of the order is pretty bad already, and it's probably going to get worse. You're right. I just think at 27, the talent's insane. Maybe he gets moved at some point. That would be great if he went somewhere else too. But I just think your floor in Tatis is so good, and the upside we've seen it in the past. We haven't, he's only hit over 30 home runs once, so you're not going to get this massive home run season. Man, I just think at 27, I think stolen bases are still there. I think he's just so solid. I love the player, and he's just hitting everything hard right now. This last 2 months have been awesome.
And let's see how the new owners, once everything clears, how they're going to spend. Right, you got the hedge fund guy and his wife. We'll see, because this past season they were really hamstrung. All these guys that they picked up for Ramon Laureano ended up getting hurt. Miguel Andujar would have been a nice little glue piece, but again, these are cheap players. Austin Hayes they just picked up recently. Xander Bogaerts is kind of towards the end of his career, and it was the first time in years where after losing Dylan Cease and then Darvish went down, Pivetta went down, the rotation was looking really poor. Right, we're always targeting these Padres pitchers. Actually, they're since the All-Star break, they've been one of the best rotations in baseball, as far as ERA, WAR, all that stuff. Interestingly, Randy Vasquez has been a big part of it, and he's doing it with an 11% strikeout rate. It's insane. The guy is just magic. Just does not give up runs. Buehler's been good, ERA under 3 since the All-Star break. Obviously, they added Robbie Ray, Casey Mize, and then Pivetta and Musgrove hopefully soon.
And they're still 10 games over 500. So they've still been really solid. They're only a plus 17 run differential. I know that's not great, but they still pretty good team. Can I ask you guys a question about one of those top 5 guys and your thoughts?
Please.
Do you guys have any concern? I love the player, but do you guys have any concern about the Bobby Witt kind of power output? He's only hit over 30 home runs once. His career's at 30 to 32. Last year was 23. He's got 16 home runs right now. He's got 36 steals. I know he's really awesome, but only 4. He's 16.49 right now. As a top 5 pick, if you don't have the right power setup, that's concerning to me right there.
Yeah, the bat speed, for example, is down just a tick. The fly ball rate, ground, everything's in line with what he has been doing the last few seasons. So all the underlying metrics look solid. And the ballpark didn't help like it was supposed to, right? Kaufman had the little bit of movement for the field, in the outfield, obviously helped Jack Caglione, but 16 home runs, 23 last year is definitely concerning. I don't think you're going to see a lot of projection systems with him with more than 25 for next year. But I do think he's still probably a top 5 pick. He's just solid and usually healthy.
Yeah, love the player, but only over 100 runs once in his career, over 100 RBIs once in his career too. I was surprised when I saw that.
That's life as a Royal.
Yeah. I think that ballpark is a huge issue. And I know they made some efforts this year to mitigate it. I wonder if they do it again, because obviously Caglione is not having any issues, but he hits the ball like Nick Kurtz. But Bobby Witt, I would, at this point today, I'd have a hard time not taking James Wood over him in a draft for next year.
That kind of answered my question, because that says a lot right there.
But I love Witt. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I do too.
Knock him down below that. Vlad, who do you have as your number 6?
I hate to be the jump. I'll tell you the one guy I can't do is Yordan Alvarez. I did love him, target him this year, did not get him in either of my mains, though I wanted him. Sucks. Like the only place I really have him in a really good spot that's competitive is like my TGFBI team. So, and I just don't know. I don't believe in the magic of him 2 years in a row. Just finding a way to stay healthy. He did get that outfield eligibility, which is nice, but it's not him. I would like to think that I don't know. I love Caminero, probably just not because of the having to chase stolen bases and having to play Astoria Ruiz and Tyler Tolbert late in the year. So I think I probably would give a shot with James Wood and reverse some of my errors from the previous year.
Are we worried about Caminero's kind of launch angle? Kind of, he's down in the 7%, 50% ground ball rate. I mean, he's got an 80-mile-an-hour swing speed. I mean, it's absurd. But with these guys with that low launch angle, it really can kind of seems like it can go sideways for home runs for a year.
It's possible with Caminero. He's just such a pure stud, and I don't know. He just feels like to me especially after the second year, it's a body of work. Kind of feels like a pretty solid guy. It's really just for me. It's just the stolen bases, but I could see something like a low 30s home run year for sure.
And I'll throw one more name in the mix that we haven't talked about, and he hasn't been amazing this year, but it seems like Ellie De La Cruz is going to have a 50-30 season or a 40-40 season at some point. I know he's not running as much, but I know he had another injury this year he dealt with that, he actually went on the IL this year, but you get me towards the middle end of the first round. He's serious consideration for me with the power speed combination.
Yeah, I got no argument there. He's you feel like that one big year is coming. He's never hit over 25 home runs. It's kind of wild. Playing in that park, he's got good barrel rates, good hard contact. Maybe it just hasn't happened yet, but I wouldn't argue that. I would probably go the group we talked about ahead of him, but I'd consider him with Yordan, Caminero, and Soto for sure, just because you're just getting those stolen bases where you're not getting with those other three guys.
Yep.
Next question for you guys. So you're in the middle of your 15-teamer, late second. Pitchers aren't going really quickly. Let's say the Miz is off the board, Skubal is off the board. Really want a pitcher here. Know that one isn't going to get back to you. I got a list of 6 names that I feel are in the mix here, and wanted to see who your preference is among them. Chris Sale, of course, the 2 Philly guys, Jesus Luzardo and Christopher Sanchez, Cam, the man Schlittler, Dylan Cease, and Yoshi Yamamoto. So what do you think?
Scott, you're up first this time.
Mine is still Sanchez. I know it's been a little bumpy lately. I know the whip is 1.22, but 16 wins. The strikeout rate's actually up this year. The walk rate is really steady, 5.5%. So he's got a 22% K- walk, still really elite. Swinging strike rate's up this year. Hard hit rate's up a little bit, but the big thing with him right now is just his BABIP. It's 342 on the year. It was 370 in the second half. So he's had a great year and been unlucky. Give me that and a bounce back next year. He's still been really good this year. The 16 wins is huge. And in a time where getting wins is really difficult, that's huge. It's Sanchez for me. Nothing against these other pitchers. There's been some incredible years. Every time I look at Schlittler, I'm like, my God, this guy. I try to find ways to poke holes in his resume. I just can't do it. But it's still Sanchez for me with probably Schlittler right behind him.
Yeah, and highest swinging strike rate of his career, and so he's missing a lot more bats. With those 55, 60% ground ball pitchers, it's going to be easy to have those whip years. We see it with Logan Webb all the time. When they're putting the bat on the ball, it finds holes, especially as the Phillies defense kind of gets a little older and not as agile, we'll call them. But
Trey Turner drives me nuts out there.
Oh, it's hard to watch.
Yeah.
But that's an easy pick for me, Scott. If Sanchez isn't available, the numbers without looking at anything else, including age, is Chris Sale, but he's going to be 38 next year, and age is undefeated. He is unbelievable. 2.06 ERA, 1.0 whip, 11 K per 9, 13 wins, everything supported underneath that. A 26% K- walk. I mean, it's silly. But I'm not taking a 38-year-old pitcher in the second round. So looking at this list, Dylan Cease looks great, but who is Dylan Cease? We see this every other year with him. It feels like, he'll have a Cy Young and then be a bust. One thing I did note with Cease, he threw his changeup a lot more and kind of leaned less into his fastball now this year with Toronto. which has made a big impact. But if I'm in the middle of the second round looking at this group, I'm probably taking another hitter and then waiting for the third round and taking Peyton Tolley. And I know, Scott, you brought him up in the pod on Sunday. I love this guy, and I think he's just scratching the surface on how good he can be. Huge fastball. He's working on his secondaries. Everything supported. He's got a 35% chase rate. That's tremendous for a starting pitcher. And so I would probably take the upside there on Tolley and go hitter start. And, I think that's something I'm learning. All of my teams, I'm competitive in all, but I'm one hitter short, and all my pitching is probably carrying me. So I'm probably just leaned a little too hard into pitching. So I need to go a little more hitting early for my builds.
In the reference of like bringing up Peyton Tolley, what does Drew Rasmussen have to do to get in this group? This is now his 6th straight year with an ERA under 3. I understand some of those years are low innings, but the back-to-back 140-plus inning years the last 2 years. I get the issue was injury this year coming in. People didn't trust that second year, but man, he's at 26% K rate. He's got a 4.5% walk rate. His ERA is under 3 every single year. It's kind of quiet just how awesome Drew Rasmussen is.
Shut up, Scott.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Quiet.
Are we already worried about the draft next year?
No, that's a great point. He's awesome.
He really is great.
He already going into the season, there was I forgot the stat, but there was just no starter with this body of work, even though it was smaller, like a sub-3 ERA. He's absolutely incredible. The ballpark is great. He's getting wins because the team is good too. He's the 5th best starting pitcher on a 5x5 fantasy standpoint. One of only 5 guys earning $25 or more dollars. Dylan Cease is interesting because you would think the ratios are incredible. He's got a 2.37 ERA. WHIP is actually down. I think only had 1 season under 110, and it's at 106 now. But he's the only guy without double-digit wins among these top pitchers. I mean, even Eduardo Rodriguez, the magician, has 14 wins, but Dylan Cease only 8. So that's affecting his.
I blame Vlad.
I was about to say this is a Vlad Guerrero problem. Every time I know how I research, so I kind of looked at this when you asked the questions. I kind of like I was looking at next year as I look and compare Cease to everybody else. I just see the 11% walk rate. I see the 1.33 WHIP last year, and I just know that I won't take him in this group. Not that the 36% strikeout rate is absurd this year. I would take him in probably the next group. I like all the names you mentioned more than Cease a little bit, just based on that walk and what it can do to the WHIP.
And is Yamamoto like the best boring guy of all time? Like I get to watch him a lot, and he's just a magician every time out there. He'll even give up a home run early, and it looks like he's falling apart. All of a sudden, you check back in, and it's he's pitched 6 or 7 innings and didn't give up a run since. With the one thing about Yamamoto, the strikeouts are down. So his strikeout rate's down from where it was 29% last year. It's around 25 this year. His swinging strike rate is down about a tick, right around like league average. But he's still getting it done. The ratio is 2.5. It's really an incredible body of work, and he's done it for just last few years now. He's just going to be kind of like the boring guy that's going to be passed up over all the fun Schlitlers of the world.
Personally, I will be passing on him, and I passed on him this year, and obviously regretting it because he's been so good. Historically with Japanese pitchers, they rely a lot on deception, and once Major League kind of catches up to them, they kind of regress a little bit. The thing that scares me with Yamamoto is the ground ball rate is dropping, the ground ball rate is going down and the fly ball rate's going up. And the swing and strike you mentioned, Vlad, but his BABIP this year is 225. That
was my stat in bold on my list here.
Yeah, I mean, you're that 0.89 WHIP. If that regresses the other way, you're looking at still really good, right? A 1.05, but at an 8.7% or 8.7 K per 9, what are you getting in the second round there with that? I mean, I don't know if you're going to get your money's worth out of that. And so his numbers to me look like they're kind of trending the wrong way, even though he's an elite pitcher. But second round, I will be passing on him.
Same thing I had. That 225 BABIP just sticks out to me. I think he's great. I think he's awesome. There's just probably 3 or 4 pitchers I'll have ahead of him that other people won't, so I probably just won't get him.
Yeah.
Next question for you guys. Who's your one you think you'll be your can't quit player? Preferably somebody like maybe higher draft capital. It doesn't have to be, but I think a lot of people know mine, and sometimes they hit, and most of the time they're on the IL, and it's those Buxton's, Tyler O'Neill's. By the way, I'm way done with Tyler O'Neill. The guy's just a big giant brick, and it's always, knee, elbow, whatever. Like he's just not made for this game. Should have played something else. Louis Robert, of course. But I'll just kind of start off with mine. Like I don't care what his price is, and I'm willing to chase him up the boards. But like, give me another year of Jordan Lawler. And I know this isn't the exact exact same thing here, but for me, he's like Kenny, right? Like, remember Kenny from South Park? Like, oh my God, guys, they killed Kenny. Like something always happens to Kenny. And something's always happened to Jordan Lawler. Like the other day, he just came back and got hit in the head with a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. And then I guess he was okay. In the next game, hit a home run. But I just love the talent, the ability. I would love to just see him, play well, and maybe they get a little bit of that. Kittel is off the team, and he can be one of the leaders there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity upside with Lawler. I completely get where you're at with it. Doesn't seem like the Diamondbacks have loved him, but this is the first year that they've actually given him a shot, and then can't stay healthy. So it'll be interesting what happens to him. Scott, by the way, on a sidebar, I just looked up the meatball draft, and Drew Rasmussen went ahead of Peyton Tolley early, the fourth pick of the 5th round. So
that's a good price on Tolley, though.
Yeah, and then it is. And then another name to bring up we did not talk about would be Yuri Perez, who has just been dominant the last 2 months since coming back off that injury. Can't quit. I'll give you 2 names, Vlad. One is just the skills seem so tantalizing, but has not figured it out, put it together, stayed healthy. Wyatt Langford. He's absolutely frustrating as all get up. But the guy I'll more than likely have on every team again next year, mainly not because I'm a Giants homer, but I just think he's better than the draft cost, is going to be Rafael Devers. His numbers are going the wrong way as far as the swing and miss, but he's going to put up 30 homers. It depends on the lineup around him for the run production, obviously, because he's not fleet of foot for runs, and if he doesn't have someone in front of him, then he's not going to knock him in. But 9th, 10th round for a guy that can hit 40 homers and drive in 100, on a good season, I'll take the chance on that.
You think he'll get that far?
I'm looking at the meatball right now, and he went middle of 9.
That'd be the most auto click of auto clicks in the 8th round for me.
Behind Royce Lewis, Freddie Freeman, Alec Burleson. Alec Burleson was great. I
love Alec Burleson.
That's way too late for Burleson. That's kind of a joke.
I mean, Devers has 30 home runs already now. I mean, he's 29. He's 29.76 right now, and he started out terribly too. So I think you're right. It's gonna be a boring guy that you're gonna last a little too long. I could see myself clicking him a lot next year too.
What about you, Scott? Who's your guy?
So I'm more of a grudge holder than a can't quit. So I more quit everybody than anything else. But I actually have 2, and both of them kind of hurt me this year. The first one's Mike Trout. Like, I keep talking myself into him. The later he goes, I'm like, well, I can't not take Mike Trout here. He's so good. But just back-to-back years, we hit him 245. He has 20 home runs, 11 steals. Like, 11 steals are nice. He only had 2 last year, but it's just kind of not there. And the injury concern is always there. He has played a bunch of games the last 2 years, but it's kind of falling off. He has dropped the strikeouts a little bit, which is good, but he's just not the same player. At some point, I have to get that out of my head. And the other one, Jason will know, and we've talked about him way too much, but it's Austin Riley. Every time I do research, I look at 21 through 2023. I'm like, oh my God, 35 home runs a year. This guy's automatic. Hard hit rate's great. The hard hit rates remain great, but the home runs just aren't there. He has 19 in 2024, 16 last year, and 15 this year. That's 3 straight years. He's not going to hit 20 home runs unless he hits 5 in September, which would be a miracle. But he's hit 221 this year. Strikeout rate's up to 32%. I have to get to the point where I realize he's a different player than he was 3 or 4 years ago. He's just not the same guy anymore. He's only 29, but the strikeout rate this year, I think, will finally get me off him. But it's one of those guys last year. I keep taking him. He's really hurt me the last couple of years.
I'll probably back in on the Riley train. One thing I wanted to mention about Devers. So first of all, the one argument that may not work, and again, it's just one season, small sample, but of his 29 home runs, 17 he's hit at home, by the way. On the downside, he is horrific against lefties. So this season, it's like a 57 WRC plus, hitting like $160 against them, and with like a 28% strikeout rate. So that's the one thing I bring up about Devers.
Yeah, and if you watch him play, he is swinging out of his shoes on every swing. It's not for the team right now; it's for his stats. And so,
My kind of fantasy player.
Right?
You just like summed up Rafael Devers in one sentence right there. That was pretty good.
But it's kind of fascinating to watch his career path because he came up as kind of, a high contact guy with some power. And then just really, as he put on weight and strength, he just became sellout power. I don't know what he turns into, but yeah, that left-handed, you're talking platoon numbers there, Vlad, and that's a huge concern if you're drafting somebody in the top 10 rounds that can get platooned. But good thing the Giants don't have enough talent to platoon him.
Yep. By the way, someone brought up 75% of all pitchers are all right-handed, but of course, yeah, everybody faces different players. Devers actually has a higher percentage of playing against lefties this season. About 35% of his at-bats this year have come against lefties, so closer split. Next question, Logan. Pick a Logan. Going probably in the same range. Henderson or Webb?
Scott.
It's a hard question because I love Logan Webb, and he's one of those guys that like just you throw him out there, he's going to get 200 innings, and that's so valuable in this era where it's hard to find guys who eat that many innings. But I'm really concerned about the strikeout drop. Like I was so excited the strikeouts went up last year. I had Logan Webb everywhere last year, but 8.7% swing strike rate. Strikeout rate's now under 20%. I know he still has an ERA in the threes and a WHIP of 1.10, but I think I'm going to lean Henderson. 94 innings between the majors and the minors this year. 24% strike K-minus walk in the majors this year. 2.6.89. Great organization to pitch in. Good offense. Good team to pitch for. Swing strike rate's 12.5%. It's just a matter of the Brewers kind of letting him go. Like it just seems like they're really hesitant to really give him a full season. They always kind of find a way to block him. I think that'll end next year. He's going to be his age 25 season. It's a really close call for me. This is not an anti-Logan Webb take, but I just really like Logan Henderson. I'd probably lean him a little bit in this question.
Vlad, who do you got?
I mean, I really respect Logan Webb, but I'm a big Logan Henderson guy. I think if he gets 30, 31 starts next season, he can be a top 5 pitcher, which I know Logan Webb's done before, but I don't think he can do again. So for me, it's kind of the rising tide with Henderson. And
Jason, stand up for your boy here.
Skills wise, give me Logan Henderson 10 times out of 10, but I think you nailed it early with the innings. And Logan Henderson has not thrown a full season. So yeah, if I'm looking at the two in that case, and depending how I started, I don't see a scenario in the 6th, 7th round I can take a Logan Henderson over a Logan Webb in that case for the innings necessary. I don't know how the Giants look next year, but they can't be any worse than this year. And that obviously plays a role in a pitcher's mindset too. And, Scott, you and I talked draft season about Logan Webb in the WBC and being down a mile an hour or a mile and a half, I think. But it'll be interesting where he looks next year kind of in spring training with that. So give me Webb. I have 2 pitchers to throw in there. Not Logan. Sorry, Vlad, to ruin your theme. But Kyle Harrison and Paul Skeens.
Skeens, I was going to bring him up earlier. Yeah.
So where do we have them? If you rank those 4, 1 through 4, as far as I draft first versus last. Vlad, where do you have those for?
Skeens, Henderson, Harrison, Webb.
Skeens, who had 5.12 in the meatball draft, I thought that was pretty wild. That I knew it was going to be low. Basically, the last month's been really rough. But you look at Skeens' numbers, his metrics are all the same as they were last year. The BABIP's a little bit higher, but strikeout rate's the same. Walk rate's a little bit higher. Swinging strike rate's also 13%. It's just been it's just kind of been a weird year for him, and unlucky. He'd be first for me for sure, and I think he's going to fly up as we get close. But man, I love Kyle Harrison. His K-minus walk is 24.5% right now. He's got 30% strikeout rate with a 6.5% walk rate. Dropped that 3% this year. Swinging strike rate's up 2.79, 1.12. He'd be second for me, then Henderson, then Webb. I like this group a lot, but I love Kyle Harrison.
Yeah, and you missed one number with Paul Skeens, and it's velocity.
Yep.
And I think that's a huge thing we need to definitely watch moving into next year. If that continues to trend down, I don't know if it's a precursor for an injury or not, but no. Or he's just in love and getting dumb, fat, and happy. One of the two. But shout out Livy.
What up?
But give me Kyle Harrison, and if he's going in the 6th round, I will have 100% of Kyle Harrison next year.
Not if we're playing in the same league.
Yes, and so I try to avoid that. Would you like to partner again next year, Scott?
We'll see. If we're in Vegas, for sure. That was really fun.
But yeah, I think he's going to be going up in the the 5th, 4th round by the time we get to Vegas next year, because he figured it out, and it makes me sad it's not on the Giants. But they got Devers, and it's what it is, and it's definitely not a terrible trade for them. But give me Kyle Harrison.
You mentioned it couldn't get any worse for the Giants. The A's run differential is 121 runs worse than the Giants right now, if you can believe that. Seems impossible, but it is.
Impossible. Yeah, possible. There it is. I mean, it's happening.
They're 50 runs run differential worse than the Rockies.
You said the paste eaters wrong.
Fair point.
Super quick on this one. It's real quick. These guys are going. They can go anywhere, maybe around the 1-2 turn in a 15-teamer, and maybe it might seem that one of them is forced because of his body of work or being hurt this year. But between Jordan Walker, Sal Stewart, or Connor Griffin, say all three are available at the 15. You're taking them and a pitcher or two hitters. Which of those three do you trust the most? Who would you most likely draft next year?
My answer is going to be a solid answer. Probably none of the three. I'll probably take a veteran guy who's slipped, like a Corbin Carroll or Julio or someone like that, probably. But if I had to pick between the three, I think I'd probably go Jordan Walker. If the K gains keep where they are, he's down to 24%. He just becomes a really, really good player. There's so much hard contact, so much talent. 48% hard hit, 13.5% barrel rate. He's got 18 stolen bases to go with the power too. Fun young offense in St. Louis with Baez and Weatherholt next year. Like, that's a really fun 1-2-3 right there. I think I go Walker. Sal's great. It's the hard hit rate's down a little bit. It worries me a little bit, but I don't have a problem there. And he plays in Cincy, which is really nice. And then Connor Griffin obviously has a huge upside. The stolen bases could be massive. I just worry a little bit if the power is quite ready. He had 5 home runs this year in 250 plate appearances. Hard hit rate's only 37%. Barrel rate's only 8%. I just think the power probably is maybe a couple years away from being huge. And at the end of the first 1-2 turn, I don't want to get 16 home runs, even if it comes with the stolen bases. So I'd probably go Walker.
Interesting. Give me Connor Griffin and the upside with the stolen bases. I know the way I draft, and guess what I'm short on again this year? The stolen bases. It just happens every year. And if I can get a guy that has the upside of 60 stolen bases, I think it makes a lot of sense for the way I build my teams. The nice thing about Connor Griffin is the batting average seems like it could play where you're not looking at a 220, but you're betting on the come there. It's weird. Like, Jordan Walker did it this year, and it makes me like him a little less. Like, I don't understand.
I actually kind of had that same feeling too. I'm like, I hate to say this out loud, but like, I just worry that he was so good this year. You wait for the other shoe to drop a little bit.
It's a bias. But yeah. And then what does Kyle Schwarber need to do to get in the first round?
Respect.
That guy, I would probably take Schwarber over everyone. If you give me Schwarber Griffin at the turn, I'd be pretty stoked.
He's now passed Judge for most home runs since 2020. 4 seasons of what is it? 40 plus. 4 of the last 5 years.
The leadoff stuff is just weird because he only has 81 RBI with his 40 home runs, which is kind of wild too. But only has 79 runs. It's kind of weird. It's been a weird year for that stats of them. But I mean, just absolute monster. The batting average is always a worry. You worry about the strikeout rate there, though. It's up to 33% this year.
Yeah. I mean,
it was 20. It was like mid. It was like 28, 27 the last couple of years. I worry about that 33% at age 33. It'd be 34 next year. I'd take these guys over him.
Yeah. Vlad, who do you got?
Jordan Walker for me. I wish that more weight was put onto a fantasy 5x5 standings based on like your one late round guy that hits, because I have him on both mains and all my best balls, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. The rest of the team has to be good too, not just one guy. So definitely love what I've seen out of Walker. I do think the Connor Griffin price where he went in the early draft was I feel like he was going to be more of like a second rounder, and that was a price for after September when he kind of burst back or whatever. I think like that's where it lands. But like if he doesn't come back on time or struggles in that final month, I don't think you're going to see him there. I think you're going to see him more like a second round pick, and then there's a little bit of profit potential.
You just know someone's going to want to do it though.
Yeah.
Especially those live mains. Someone's going to love saying Connor Griffin out loud for the room to hear.
Question for you guys. Are you taking those names over Jose Ramirez at this point?
I don't know.
It is a fascinating question. We talked about Ramirez a little bit on the pod on Sunday. It's just it's weird. Like it's just he has 10 home runs. He has 31 steals, but the 10 home runs are concerning. He hasn't homered since he came back off the IL. He might just not be healthy though too. Like he started off pretty well. Maybe he's just not. He came back too early. We've seen the handmade bones. It's just it always kind of lingers. I'd have a hard time passing on J-Ram at the end of the first round for either of those three guys, probably.
Last one here on this, and we'll talk a little bit of FAAB. Might be a more of a Scott question, Jason. Definitely answer it as well if you have one. But if there's an athletics player that you kind of want no matter the price, whether just assuming you kind of know where their prices would be, but like, between Kurtz, Brent Rooker, Bangalier, Zach Geloff, even Henry Bolt, like who's the one guy that like I'm leaving this draft with this A?
It ain't Brent Rooker, that's for sure. 32% strikeout this year was really rough. I answered this kind of like knowing where the price is going to be. I think obviously Nick Kurtz would be the best player of the group, but Langalier's for me kind of all day. Catcher, barrel rate's up to 15%. He was a monster before he got hurt. And I think Soderstrom's going to be really underpriced next year. He was 19, 56, 109 games. The barrel rate fell a bit, but his strikeout rate fell a bit. He can kind of like find the barrels back with keeping the strikeout rate down. I think he's going to be really discounted. I think it's going to be a really good combo. I think he's going to be really solid and kind of underpriced. But the answer to this question is probably Leo DeVries, right?
I was just going to say that name, Scott.
Nice.
Give me Nick Kurtz in the third round all day. I think he's just a monster. And obviously Bangalier's, he loved the player. I think depending where it ends up, Jacob Wilson could be value next year. They're still playing in Sacramento. That if he gets to 10 to 12 homers, if you get that batting average up and get that shoulder healthy,
I don't think it's coming.
It might not. And but if he's going near the 20th round, which there's a good chance he does I'd be willing to take the shot. I'm not pulling him up any higher than that, but
just from the volume, that probably works. But I think I just don't know if the homers are coming. He's got 7 this year. The strikeout rate's up a little bit. It was insanely low last year. He just didn't hit the ball hard. His hard hit rate's 27%. It's tough to find the power with that.
That's what my hard hit rate is.
Yeah. I'd probably take you in a home run derby over him. I think you could swing it a little bit.
You could find that on Kalshi.
Yeah.
I love your Soderstrom point.
Not a sponsor, right?
So we'll talk a little FAAB here, wrap up the show. So next week or this weekend coming up after this, 3 bidding periods? Or we have 3 left total?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
So 4 as of this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 4 including this week. And coming up next week, there are a bunch of teams that are playing 7 games. There'll be a doubleheader on there. But just looking ahead to the next week's schedule, you've got, to me at least, as I start my FAAB work and article, Trust the Gut, the Orioles stand out. So they're going to go to Colorado for a series. Blaze Alexander apparently is going to come back, maybe mess up some of the playing time there. Hopefully not for Christian Encarnacion Strand, but we'll see how that works out. The Brewers are going to play 7 games, all on the road. They're 4 at the Cubs, 3 at Cincy. The Dodgers only have 6, but they have a nice setup there. They're going to play the Cardinals and the Nationals. And other than that, you got like the Rockies are at home for 6. They're going to play 16 of their next 22 games at home. Reds are at home all week. Just looking at that, is there anyone either in a 15 or 12 that like you're thinking, hey, I need to get this guy who may not be too high rostered?
A lot of those teams, it was hard because like everybody's taken. Like you can look at the Dodgers schedule coming up, and you're like, oh, well, maybe Alec Thomas, but that's kind of about it. I felt like the Padres, looking at your chart for like the next 3 weeks, I thought they were the one place where you could actually attack someone. And Camposano, Gavin Sheets, and Cronenworth are all under 80% in the main event and way lower than that, a 12-teamer. And you look ahead, they have 3 at Cincy, they have 3 against the Nats, they have 3 against the Giants, they have 4 against the Rockies. If I'm planning out like 2 or 3 weeks, I think Padres is the one team that I thought like not only does the schedule look really good, but they also have some guys with availability where a lot of these teams really don't. I saw CES and Kobe, I also saw OJ Mayo, Kobe Mayo, both under 40% 12-teamers. They're both throwing all righty this week, so maybe Mayo works out okay there. And they just have some power in Coors Field. But actionable wise, I thought the Padres are the one team I thought was interesting to attack.
I don't have much to add on that, Vlad.
What about I know you guys, I don't know, maybe I've shared it with you in the past, like over on Fangraphs. I've done this like the 4th time now this season where I'm kind of looking at the schedule, not from a next week streamer perspective, nor rest of season, which I usually don't do, but just like in the next 3 or so weeks of the schedule that you alluded to, Scott. But I mean, I don't think it's just luck, but or like I'm some genius that I figured this out. I just kind of did the work. But way back in like mid-April, I I basically looked at all the matchups, kind of set it up based on the pitching, color coded. And to me, what really popped out were, at the time, it was the White Sox and the Mets. And the Mets, then they lost Soto, they got hurt, whatnot. Lindor then got hurt, they stunk. The White Sox were the best team over the next month. When I did the exercise the next time, it was the worst team in baseball, which were the Giants. They were dead last in runs scored. Giants stood out with the upcoming matchups, a lot of like at Athletics, at the Reds, stuff like that. They were the next best offense for the next month. Then it happened again with, I forgot the team. I think the Rockies. It was like the Rockies and the A's, just really nice looking schedules. So I kind of like this little process that I figured out. I think I need to figure out like the timeline as to, when I do it. It's not like an every week thing. But I mean, like you mentioned it, the Padres, if we're just looking at the next 3 weeks, they're at Cincy, they're playing Washington, they're playing, who knows who's on the Giants rotation anymore. Everybody, Wisenhunters are hurt. 4 at Colorado, really good matchups. So I think like you kind of find those little pockets. It can work out really, really well.
And how are you color coding these, Vlad?
Oh, this is
green is good.
Yes, I got that. But what is the barometer from what we're looking at?
So for this, it was I went and I looked at the last like 6 weeks of basically every advanced stat metric, incorporated like who's in the rotation, like the bullpen, how they're doing, and for the sake of this exercise, without getting too insane, and of course, like you might think like a team is more of a green or a yellow. It's just a very simple target, like green, yellow, red stoplight.
Got it.
I think your point on the Rockies is interesting with the 16-22. Someone in the chat mentioned Connor Norby. Connor Norby's been really good lately. He's hitting 304 in August with a couple of home runs. 16-22 at home for Colorado. Like I even think Zach Veen, who's picked up a couple weeks ago, is interesting. And if he plays enough, love Cole Carrig. If he's available in some 12s, he'd probably be long gone by now. But there's Kyle Carroll's coming back maybe off the IL. I think the Rockies are, he's going to be warm. 16 last week. 16. Yeah. Is he back? He's back. Is on concussion still or no?
He went back on it. So if he gets off, it'll be Sunday.
He might be done if he just went back on it after coming off it. That's scary stuff to come back and play after 7 days and go back on it without an actual occurrence.
Yeah, but I think Rockies are the one to attack. And like I said, I think Padres is a really good one too if you want to kind of play out the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, actually, the beneficiary of playing time there has been Troy Johnston, who's kind of been hit or miss, but now he's been playing a little bit more. Ezekiel Tovar, he's playing every day too, but not having the best season.
His stats don't know he's playing every day though.
This is true. What about Jordan Beck? Just never gets the chance, right? I mean, Warren Schaefer must not like him. Maybe he just sucks. I don't know.
I need Zach Veen to play, not Jordan Beck.
Agreed on that one. I added way too much Zach Veen based on how good he looked in AAA like those 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm hoping he gets a run here.
2 more quick questions for you guys. Anyone from this group of starting pitchers and a 15-teamer? I know you guys haven't dug into them maybe too much. These guys all potentially have two starts this week. Maybe something's changed since we started recording, but Blade Tidwell, not Blake. I thought it was Blake, but it's Blade Tidwell.
Blade is way cooler, by the way. It's a great name.
Great baseball name. He actually doesn't have a 2-step. I'm just looking at it from a next 2 weeks perspective, but he gets Pittsburgh, St. Louis, San Diego over the next 3 starts. Cal Quantrill, the incredible Cy Quantrill, he gets Tampa, and then at Seattle the following week. You got Radney Dobnak, most likely going to get a home 2-step, Miami, Toronto. Ryan Gusto, the go for it guy, at KC versus Cubs, and then Mike Burrows back in our lives. A lot of people are probably never again with him. He's burned a lot of folks, but potentially White Sox and Arizona at home. Anyone interest you there?
Is Cal Quantrill staying in the rotation if Eovaldi comes back?
I think Kumar Rocker should go. I think if Kumar Rocker gets rocked at the White Sox, there's no reason to Cal Quantrill's been too good to just move to the pen. And Jack Leiter is apparently going to the pen.
Is he? There goes my stash.
Yeah, Leiter's going to be using relief, it sounds like.
Lovely. Give me the chance on Mike Burrows, and I probably wouldn't start him in the 2-step. I'd have to see it. But he looked good in AAA. Numbers look good. Any of those names, none of them really are giving me warm and fuzzies, though.
You know that you see that Dobnak start against the A's where you put 10 guys on base in 4 innings and give no runs somehow. It's kind of a wild stat. He had the bases loaded in the first inning and the second inning, no runs. My answer was the same as Jason. I think I'm taking a shot on Burrows. This minor league stint has been good. He had 7 strikeouts yesterday. I think it was in 4 1/3 or 4 2/3. So maybe he figured something out. We all liked him in the preseason. Maybe there's something there. And then my second pick would be Gusto in Miami. I like the start against Kansas City. The Cubs start's a little bit scary, but he had a 27% strikeout rate in his minor league innings. So maybe it's there somewhere. If I had to pick a second guy, it would be that. But Burrow's kind of stuck ahead of me as in the group.
By the way, I'm not obviously no injury expert, but there was something when I was writing up Mike Burrows for an article that I had noticed is that, remember, we were all hype on him, going to be on Houston, and then he had a really good start in the spring. And then there was a certain spring start. It was like right towards the end. He got hit by a comebacker in the leg and got pulled from the game. And I don't know, the effects, like, you're more like the mechanics guy and everything, but could there have been something there? Like, he didn't go on the IL for it, but everything went to garbage for him right after that. And I know it ended up being an elbow, but, everything's like connected. So I wonder if maybe at some point at the end of the year, we'll hear like, oh yeah, when I got hit in that leg that time. Or am I just too conspiracying it to convince myself to take Burrows?
Yes. I'd have to ask one of the Twitter doctors to get an answer on that one.
No
Ping Dr. Dave, Vlad.
I'll do that right after this episode. Last question here. This is just, I'm curious, how would you guys treat, someone asked me how I would treat the last week of the season now. And my response was, I think it's very difficult because a lot changes on a daily basis, let alone 3 weeks from now. We don't know what the playoff matchups are. We know that, a lot of starting pitchers get set. Digging into just giving this person a response, something I went back and looked. I went back and I clicked through on Fangraphs the last week of every season, the last few seasons, just to see how many 2-steps there are. Because usually there's about 30 in a given week. And in the last few seasons, the average has been 18, which, common sense, makes sense. Then I started digging in how many of these guys are going 5 innings, how many of these guys are getting 2 starts. And we have, like, from what we remember, the numbers aren't good. I think last year, Chris Sale was the only starting pitcher with 2 wins last year in the final week. So my one thought is just get as much as you can now, because the last week is such a crapshoot. Jermaine Dye, right? A few years ago, you remember, anything can happen.
I remember that. I remember that single up the middle off Joe Nathan Well.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go, Jason, go.
For me, you're looking obviously for teams that are in the playoff hunt if you want to get stats. And then kind of counterintuitive, you're also, if there's nothing available there, you're looking for teams that are out of it if you want to get the 2-start guy that actually will pitch some innings. The teams that are in the playoffs are not going to throw that second start. Even the 1 start, they're probably only going to pitch 4, maybe 5 innings max. So if you need wins, it's almost obviously playoff hunt, but almost target bad teams that last week if you can, with obviously decent matchups, because they're going to let their pitcher go a little longer.
Yeah, I have a couple points here, and I have one piece I think is important, actionable advice. The first piece is do all your work now, because that last half week is just a waste. Like, it's just guys go out after 2 at-bats. So the last half week is really kind of lucky. If a team, even on Monday we make the decisions, like a team may not need to win by the end of the week. They may need to win at the start of the week, but not the end of the week. My one piece of actionable advice is to sit down on Sunday before FAAB, figure out your 9 pitchers for the week, keep one or 2 extras maybe, so you have 10 or 11, and then drop everybody else and use the bench for bats, because you can bring the bats in on Friday. Once the pitchers lock for the week, they lock for the week. I see so many teams with 5 pitchers on the bench in the last week. I'm like, once they lock, you can't use them. You can use the bats. You're going to have guys who get hurt that midweek. You may have guys who, tweak something and I shut it down. Have 5 or 6 bench bats. You can use them on Friday. You can bring them in. I'm talking NFBC formats, obviously, here with the bi-weekly. But sit down and figure out your pitchers. Keep 1 or 2 extra if someone gets scratched on Monday morning or someone gets hurt. I get that that's a possibility as well. But figure that out and keep 5 or 6 bench bats. You will be thankful on that Friday to have options.
And to that point, Scott, you can drop your ace if you don't think they're going to pitch that week. Nobody else can pick them up.
It feels weird to drop Chris Sale, but he's not pitching that week. You got to do it.
Yep.
Yeah. Remember 10 years ago, it was that was hard to do, because at the end of the year, you want to look at your roster and you're like, wait, I had Chris Sale all year.
That was only you.
Okay. You're right. My bad. Last one for you guys before we head out. Walker Jenkins, any thoughts? He's having a phenomenal season in AAA. He is a big prospect for the Twins, big injury history. What do you think of him? What's he going to go for in drafts with people even have money left? And how much does it depend on what he does this weekend?
I think that's your answer right there. I mean, it's obviously going to be the top priority for most people. Everything kind of got swept up last week, but I haven't even got into that yet. We'll obviously know more here come Saturday. But he looks like a legit prospect. So, a little power push the last 4 weeks.
The one thing I'll add on him is at this point in the year, we're looking for guys who are hot right now. He has 8 home runs in 18 August games. He has no multi-homer games coming into August in his whole minor league career. He has 3 this month. Love the 50% strikeout rate for a guy with some pop, some speed too as well. If I need a bat, this is the guy I'm going for, because we've said it many times here, but like, who else is coming? I just think if you need a spark, you're trying to follow someone hot right now. I like picking him. I assume he's going to play every day. I assume Buxton's probably going to go the IL, so I think it kind of create a spot for Jenkins.
Yeah, and that's exactly that. You kind of solidify my point here as we close up. Like, that's exactly what you want in your analyst. You want somebody digging in the crates like Scott Jenstad, going into the minor league game logs to tell you how many home runs he's hit over the last 3 weeks. Man, that's good stuff.
It only took me an hour and 10 minutes to bring some to the table. That's good.
Oaktown showing out.
Oaktown. Anything you want to promote? What you're doing, or anything in life?
All I'm going to say is it's really good to see you guys. I had a lot of fun. I appreciate the invite. Great to see both your faces.
Yeah. Miss being on with you, Vlad. This has been great. And Scott, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. It was fun.
Thanks so much, guys. On behalf of Jason, Anthony, and myself, thank you for coming on, Scott Jenstad. Everybody, hope you enjoyed it. This is the FTN Fantasy Baseball Podcast, and we'll talk to you next week.